Dear student friends, today we shall discuss about the two very important components in most of the measuring instruments, in instrumentation, and in the overall, the technical scenario, whatever we are coming across in our day-to-day life. They are uh, first one is the digital to analog converter, and the second one is analog to digital converter, right? So now, basically, as the name itself indicates, a digital to analog converter converts a digital data into its equivalent analog data, right? So now whenever we speak about the analog data, it is measurable in the terms of the meter readings or the oscilloscope reading, whatever it is. That is how you measure the analog data. So similarly, the digital, the input, right? So basically, when we speak about the digital input, here we are referring to the binary inputs, which is the very common type of the input we are used to, right? So in some situations, it is necessary for us to have the conversion from analog to its digital counterpart and vice versa. In some cases, we will have to have the conversion from the digital to analog counterpart. Now, in this introductory chapter, let us try to see how exactly this DAX, that is the digital to analog converter, and analog to digital converter are relevant in our day-to-day applications by taking a specific example, especially of a process control system, right? So now, if you look at this particular diagram, right? So this depicts the complete, necessity and the principle behind the analog to digital conversion as well as the digital to analog conversion. Now, let us say that we start from a plant here. So maybe an industrial plant activities, right? So now from this plant, right? So you see here, you will read the data, right, by means of the sensors or the transducers, right? So most of us are very much familiar with the different types of sensors nowadays, right? So your very mobile phone has got so many type of sensors, right? Needless to mention whatever the different sensors we come across in our day-to-day life, right? A transducer basically measures analog signal, and it converts the analog signal into a conveniently required type of the output signal. Generally, it is going to be an electrical signal. So whenever an analog signal is being converted into an electrical signal, there are so many advantages. When the signal is in the electrical form, it is easy for us to store it, process it, right, and analyze it. All those advantages we will be having. So that is the reason why generally the output of the transducers will be electrical in nature, right? And here, when the sensor or the transducer measures one of the parameters or multiple parameters from a plant, right? Maybe they are in the form of temperature, right? They may be in the form of pressure, right? They may be in the form of humidity, whatever it is, right? So there are several type of analog inputs, right? Pressure, temperature, humidity, displacement, strain, stress, whatever it is, right? So now when these quantities are measured, you are getting those signals in the form of the analog signals. Again, needless to mention, what is the difference between analog and digital signal? Then from the analog, from the output of your sensor or the transducer, whatever the analog signal we are having, that is passed through one filter which is called anti-aliasing filter. Basically, this anti-aliasing filter is the filter which is used to restrict the bandwidth, the total bandwidth, to prevent many possible input frequency to come on the other side, right? It is going to restrict the input frequency only to a certain bandwidth in order to avoid the unnecessary problems created by the signals of the unwanted frequencies. That is the purpose of using anti-aliasing filter, right? So accordingly, you will have the output which is a band limited output, right? The output of the anti-aliasing filter will be a band limited output, but still it is an analog signal, right? So now this particular analog signal is now next fed into the sample and hold circuit. A sample and hold circuit basically samples the input quantity for a particular duration of the time, holds it for that particular time, then again samples, right? Then again holds as per the requirement of your reading here, right? So a sample and hold circuit basically makes your next part of the circuit to easily understand the instantaneous amplitude of the continuously varying analog signal. So this is what is the basic purpose of the sample and hold circuit, right? Now the continuous analog signal, after having passed through the sample and hold circuit, it will become discrete analog signal, because the different instances at which the continuous analog input signal is to be measured, those instances are to be properly marked, and at that instant the input signal is to be held for certain time. So therefore obviously the output here is going to become a discrete analog input, right? So now the discrete analog input will be the input to your analog to digital converter. So here I have got a discrete analog input, and this happens to be the input to your analog to digital converter. And here the analog to digital conversion takes place based on the different methods that are there in order to realize the very principle of the conversion of an analog signal into its digital equivalent. And these things we shall see in our subsequent presentation. So now once it passes, the discrete analog signal passes through the ADC, right? So now you are going to get a digital signal here. So now this digital signal can be serving, or it can serve as the input to the computer or the digital signal processor for whatever the manipulation or the processing or analysis, whatever the kind of manipulation of the data is concerned. So the computers or the processors are best known for the manipulation of the data as per user's requirement. So here the data in the digital form is going to be manipulated or processed. Then if you look at this particular part, this basically tells us why an analog signal is required to be converted into its digital equivalent, if you look at only this particular part, right? But however, when you want to take the complete process control here of the plant, right, by means of the reading analog data, converting it to a digital data or the digital signal, then process it as per your requirement. You may have to compare one value with another, right? So many kind of the data manipulation are necessary and possible, right? So then if you look at the second part here, the bottom part here, this one, right? So here basically it tells us about the reverse operation of what we have understood in the first case, that is the digital to analog conversion, right? So now the digital binary signal serves as the input to your DAC here, the digital to analog converter. The digital signal is going to be converted into analog signal in a specific format. It is not possible for us to get the final analog signal as per our requirement. So the digital to analog converter produces a kind of a staircase signal, then which is again further passed through a smoothing filter to get the analog signal of the required format. And this analog signal is again fed back to the plant here, and this is with the assumption that this plant is capable of only sensing the analog signal and providing the analog signal as its output. So the analog to digital converter and the digital to analog converters are relevant in this particular system, and in each case, if you summarize, an analog to digital converter converts an analog input to its equivalent digital output, whereas your digital to analog converter converts a digital input, right, to its equivalent analog output, which is going to be obtained here as the analog output of the required form, right? So this is one simple diagram which tells you about the significance of the ADCs and DACs, but definitely the very application of the ADCs and DACs are not limited to this particular application. They are everywhere as on today, right? If you look at any kind of the processing circuits or any kind of the applications, your Internet of Things, IoT, if you take any kind of these things, your analog to digital converters and the digital to analog converters are playing their role in one or the other way. Okay, now with this introduction, first let us try to go with the very concept of the DACs, that is the digital to analog converter. What exactly is a digital analog converter? We have already seen what exactly it does, but now it is the time for us to know how exactly it does, how exactly a digital signal is getting converted into analog signal, and what are the different principles on which the conversion of the digital signal into its equivalent analog signal is based on. That we will have to see. So before we go into the different types of the DACs, first we will try to understand its basic diagram, right, or the basic structure, how exactly a typical DAC looks like, right? Now if you look at this particular diagram here, right, if you carefully observe, there are three aspects related to the DAC. One is the binary input, because you will have to provide the digital input here, digital input, right? And here you get the analog output. The digital input is provided and analog output is obtained. And in order to do so, we will have to have a reference voltage. This is very important. We have to have a reference voltage. Okay. Now here you can see here it is an n-bit DAC. So you have D1, D2, D3 up to Dn. These are the bits. So your D1 happens to be the most significant bit and Dn happens to be the least significant bit. And now when you convert the digital signals into its equivalent analog output, which is V0 here. The analog output is given by V0. Okay, that is given by one general equation. How this equation becomes specific, we will see when we look at the different types of the digital to analog converter. So this general equation is given by V0 is equals to K into VFS into D1 into 2 to the power of minus 1 plus D2 into 2 to the power of minus 2, so on and so forth. Dm or Dn, you can take it as Dn also, Dn into 2 to the power of minus n, or in this case I have written it as minus m. So where V0 is the output voltage, VFS is the full scale output voltage. The meaning is that when you have the final, or when you have all the input bits are at logic high, right? If there are n bits, all the input bits are logic high, then what output you have got, that is called as the full scale output voltage. Then you have got one scaling factor K. Generally this scaling factor is taken to be equal to 1. Then you have got D1 as MSB and Dn as the LSB. So this is the general equation on which the entire conversion process of a digital input into its analog equivalent is based upon. V0 is equals to K into VFS into D1 2 to the power of minus 1 plus D2 2 to the power of minus 2 plus D3 2 to the power of minus 3 and so on and so forth till Dn 2 to the power of minus n, or in this case how we have taken it as Dm 2 to the power of minus m. Now when this is the basic principle of the conversion, or the basic aspect of, or the basic structure of the conversion of an the digital signal into an analog equivalent. Now how exactly this is materialized using the digital to analog converter? that we have to see, and that has got two basic types. One is called as the binary weighted register type of DAX, binary weighted type register type of DAX, and second one is called 2R ladder type of DAX, right? So these are the two types of things. So now those will come and fit in here in this block, and accordingly the principal of each, that is the binary weighted register type as well as R2 to R ladder network type of digital to analog converters, we shall look in our subsequent presentation.